Ooh, happy Monday. I'm Jaime Greene, the Solar Queen. And if you're watching on my YouTube channel, welcome to whether or not you should do a solar lease or purchase your solar system in 2023. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you are a returning viewer or if you're new to the channel, I'd appreciate it. And if you're watching live on Facebook or LinkedIn, hello, happy Monday to everyone out there. So, I wanted to talk about what you should do. Should you get a solar lease or should you purchase a solar system in 2023 and as we approach into 2024? So, it's a sunny day, kind of overcast day, sunny day today. And so, my solar system is generating power for my home right now. I'm charging my car. Actually, it's all done charging. I have done the laundry, not the laundry. I've washed the dishes in the dishwasher, and I have just been working away today. And I wanted to just talk about the differences between a solar lease and a solar purchase because I've been talking with a lot of homeowners in the last couple of weeks, and leasing starts to make sense in certain circumstances. So I want to talk about the pros and cons of a solar lease and then the pros and cons of a purchase. So there are lots of leasing companies out there. I'm associated with a handful of them. I'll name the top three: SunPower, Sunrun, and a new one called Everbright. And I have to say, the Everbright one financially is a great product. So I've got some proposals out there with Sunrun. I got some proposals out there with Everbright. And what's happening right now in California is we're in a very interesting time in California because the utility companies are raising the rates. I I mean, every single video that I create or live stream that I do, which this is a live stream. And so if you have questions, comments, please interact. This is really fun when you interact with me and ask questions or comment. You might be in the industry helping other people go solar. You might be a homeowner who's interested in getting solar, but you're not sure what to do. So this video really is for you. So make sure to engage and say hello if you're watching live. But I have said this over and over and over again, and it's not to beat a dead horse, but the utility company continues to raise the rates. I was sharing with someone the other day about how SDGE, San Diego Gas and Electric, has hit 83 cents a kilowatt hour. PG&E is at 54 cents a kilowatt hour, 58 cents almost. And SCE, and when I talk these rates, I'm talking peak time of use. So the peak time of day, which is 4 to 8 p.m., 5 to 9 p.m. in certain areas. And depending on if you drive an EV, you might be on an EV rate plan, and that rate plan will have super off peak, and on peak. So there's different rates depending on what time of day you use your energy. So we're going to talk about what's happening with the rates. The rates are going up. Interest rates for loans are going up, are not going up. The cost to borrow money is going up to keep the interest rates low on the solar financing if you need to take out a solar loan. But because the rates are going up and people are starting to get EVs, they're starting to, add. A lot of people, believe it or not, are adding air conditioning still. Things are happening. So their energy usage is going to go up. And with NEM 3.0 right now, if you increase your usage, some utilities are going to need a load calculation. And this just means what appliances are in your home or what appliances do you plan to add to your home and what is that going to do to your usage versus your historic usage. So some utilities require load calculations so that it can justify why you're getting such a big system. And with NEM 3.0 and the net billing that they're doing, you really want to find that sweet spot of how much solar and storage you need to minimize or reduce how much you pay to the utility company when the sun goes down and if you run out of storage. There's some videos that I've talked about that, and I'll link them or I'll put a card up here if you're watching on YouTube to go in and watch those videos explaining the how net billing and the true up works under NEM 3.0. But essentially, we're hitting the winter time. So October is that time of day or time of year when our usage and our consumption, our consumption and production of our solar systems kind of balance out with people that have NEM 3 or NEM 2.0. So people like me. If your demand for energy exceeds what your system can generate for you under NEM 3.0, you are going to pay the utility company. And believe it or not, I think we're still waiting for them, the utility companies, to define how much the energy is going to, well, we know what it's going to cost, but we don't know what the excess production is going to be valued at. So it's really, really important if you can in the summertime, or sorry, under NEM 3.0, if you can afford to oversize the system slightly to reduce how much you're buying from the grid, you're going to thank yourself and you're going to thank people like me who are helping you reduce your exposure to the utility company when you get solar and a battery. So hopefully that sinks in. You don't want to overbuy, because if you overbuy solar, meaning you size the system too big, you will be getting minimal credits in the summertime. So that's the downfall of oversizing your system. The other thing that's really important to understand is how much storage you need for your home. So storage being, anything that's overproduced by your solar system that's not being consumed in real time. Like my system's over generating for me right now. I just know it because nothing's on. It's overcast. It's still generating power. So it's going to my battery. And if my battery is topped off and there's it's, 100% charged, then it's going to go to the grid. So why is this important? It's because when you get a solar lease, think of it as whether you get a lease or you purchase a system, your solar system, the equipment, you're either going to lease the equipment or you're going to purchase the equipment. That's your only options. In some places, you can purchase just the power that the solar system generates, and that's called a power purchase agreement. Power purchase agreements and leases work very similarly, but differently, because as I said, in a power purchase agreement, you're just purchasing the power that the solar system on your rooftop is generating for you. Where leasing, if you lease the equipment, you have the option to purchase a system after a certain amount of years or at the end of the lease. It's totally up to you, and there's some benefits in leasing. So let me just go. My car is 100% charged. My solar system's generating 1.7 kilowatt hours. You can see that right now, 1.6. Even on an overcast day, my Powerwall is 100% charged, and my home is demanding not even a quarter of a kilowatt hour, and the rest is going to the grid. So it's overproducing, and that's okay. I'm fine with that. But when you lease a system, you're leasing the solar system, the panels, and the storage. There are different storage components that you may lease. And here is the really great thing about leasing the solar system with the storage. It's for 25 years. So if something goes wrong with the equipment, the leasing company has to replace the equipment or fix it, whatever it might be. This includes the storage. When you purchase solar and the storage after the warranties are expired, then you're kind of out there on your own. I have a little thing going on with one of my doors on my Tesla, and I have to have the mobile Tesla repair come out, and they're going to come out on Wednesday to fix it. And because it's under warranty, it doesn't cost me anything for them to come out and service my car in my driveway. Like, that's pretty cool. I'm really excited about that. It's sucky that there's a little thing that needs to be fixed, but it is what it is. There may be a time that your system may not may stop producing, and you have to go and diagnose what, not you, but the solar company gets to diagnose what's going on with the system. Why is it not generating power? What needs to be done to get it back up and running? And when you lease a system, you are it's all on the solar company for 25 years, and that could be a massive benefit to homeowners. When you own the system, and after those warranties go out, you're on the line for that, and you have to work with somebody, find a company, or pay the solar company money to come out and figure out what's going on and whatnot. So the financial benefit to purchasing the system is the tax credit, the federal tax credit. And if you live in a state that offers state tax credits for going solar, then you're going to get that, as well as any state that offers state renewable energy credits, or SRECs. So when you purchase, the biggest benefit of purchasing the system is, and when I say system, I mean the equipment. You can, if you have the tax liability, not everyone is going to qualify for the tax credit, and not everyone is going to qualify for the full tax credit in the first year. So this is huge, because I do hear that a lot of salespeople go out and promise this tax credit, but they don't ask the questions. Those tough questions that homeowners need to really examine, and that is, do I have enough tax liability, federal tax liability, and state tax liability if you're in a state like New York that has a state tax credit? Do I have enough tax liability to recoup that the tax credit for going solar? And if you take out a solar loan, which is kind of what this half of this conversation is about, if you have a solar loan, and let's just pretend like this is real life, guys, real life example of a homeowner who needs solar, it's a ground mount solar and batteries. That system is going to roughly cost $93,000. That tax credit of value is $27,900. These homeowners don't have $27,900 in federal tax liability to recoup the tax credit in that first year, which is what most lenders give the homeowners a year and a half of time to recoup it, to pay it down, so that they lock in their lower monthly payment. So the way that solar lending for the most part works is, for the first either 12 to 18 months, depending on the lender, they're going to give you that much time after the solar is installed to recoup that tax credit, buy it down, because they're starting you out at an introductory monthly payment for the first 12 to 18 months, assuming that you're going to take the tax credit and pay it down in one lump sum, and then it'll re-amortize at that time period. So whether it's 12 months or 18 months, you're going to recoup the tax credit, pay it down, and lock in, let's call it a $525 payment, because this is really what it was, about $525 for this homeowner. If they didn't bring all the tax credit or recoup it all in that first year, they're still going to be eligible for the tax credit as time goes by. They roll over the balance and whatnot. It would still take them about 6 years, given their tax liability situation, 6 years to recoup the full almost $28,000 in tax credit, to recoup it all. But that's not going to serve them when it comes to their solar loan, because the loan was going to reamortize to about $765, which is a lot of money. But here's the crazy thing. It was still less. $760 was still less than what they were paying on a monthly basis to SCE, Southern California Edison. So even if they didn't, sorry, a phone call was coming in. I thought I had my phone on Do Not Disturb. There we go. Even with not recouping the fullness of the tax credit, and they got the solar. Here, the other thing is, though, is the solar wasn't going to cover 100% of their offset. They had some variables. This is a tricky situation, but I'm using it as a real example so you guys can see where solar actually saves people money on a cash flow basis month to month. This homeowner would still be paying less with the true up if they had purchased a solar system, but they did not. And I would say for those that are on budget billing, think of this like this. Whether you purchase or lease a system, think of it as budget billing. The utility companies oftentimes will let homeowners sign up for budget billing so that they have a levelized cost for their energy throughout the year based on their historic usage. Sounds very similar to solar in that every month they have the same amount that they're paying to the utility company. And if they used more energy than that budget billing covered, they have a true up. It's just with the electricity company for to offset the budget billing. Another thing, if you are on budget billing and you go solar, it's likely that when you get signed up or hooked up to net metering, your budget billing will likely be discontinued. So just be aware of that. And if you have specific questions about that, check with your utility company about what happens if you're on budget billing. I know with PG&E, it kicks you off budget billing. I believe SCE does the same thing because you're now on net metering. So even though this homeowner was going to have a $760 solar payment that was fixed for 25 years until they paid off the solar loan, they would otherwise be paying $1,000 a month to SCE for their energy. The what is that? $240 savings a month. Let's just, say it's $240 a month. That is still 240 times 12, $2,800. I mean, these people are paying, gosh, close to $12,000 a year for energy. So solar makes a lot of sense for them. Now, if they weren't getting a ground mount, it would save them a little bit on their monthly expenses because ground mounts, just the nature of the ground mount is it's a structure that's being installed on the ground instead of on the roof. So if you can do rooftop, you're going to save a lot on that. But we compared the purchase with a lease. Same system sizes, same storage, same everything, and with a 0% escalator. So if you're thinking of a lease, in some states, there are 0% escalators. In California, I can get you a lease payment that is the same amount every single month and never going to go up with a 0% escalator. It's incredible. If they purchase the solar system, if this homeowner purchased the solar system, if after the warranties are expired, if something were to go wrong, they'd be on the line to repair or replace or whatever it might be for the equipment. With a lease, it's all on the leasing company to maintain. I mean, there's parts that the homeowner has to do to maintain, and make sure nothing gets damaged. They have to keep it clean and all that. But the equipment, if there's faulty equipment or stops working, a microinverter stops working, a battery goes, they're going to replace it because it's for 25 years. But this homeowner's fixed solar lease payment was going to be $500. It was going to be better for them to forego the tax credit and just go with the lease payment for 25 years. The other thing about this lease, and this was with Everbright, this is a really cool feature about this particular lease, is that after the 6th year, you can purchase it fair market value. And in the lease contract, it shows you every single month, or sorry, every single year. And Sunrun does this too. And I'm assuming that SunPower does. I haven't put together SunPower lease yet, but I'm sure it will come in due time that I see a SunPower lease agreement. But with Sunrun and Everbright, they will put it in a chart or like a graph. I don't know if a graph is the right word. In a spreadsheet, what the market value is after every year. And so you always know when you can purchase the solar system. Now, the difference between Everbright and Sunrun, you can only purchase it after the 5th year or after 25 years, or if you're selling the house and the new homeowners want to purchase the system. So that's the only time with Sunrun that you can buy out the lease. With Everbright, it's after 6 years, the homeowner can, if they want to buy out the system, they can. Say they come into some money and they want to stop their lease payments and they just want to own the system, they can buy the system and then their equipment is paid for and their power is now all of a sudden just being generated by the sun, and it's free because they paid off the system. So there are tremendous benefits, financial benefits for a lease. Another one that I would say is the tax. If you don't have enough tax credit to pay down, to take that huge tax credit, and you want to go with a lease, the other nice thing about leases is it doesn't affect your debt to income ratio. Now, that was one of the things I was talking with this homeowner about, is like, they wanted to go out and buy some more rental properties, and they didn't want a $93,000 loan added to their debt to income ratio, which it was going to. So the lease, when you lease a solar system, it doesn't affect your DTI. And so therefore, that might be a better financial benefit for some of you homeowners who are investors, don't want to have your DTI affected. And so you would rather reallocate the money you're already spending to the utility company to the leasing company to lease the solar equipment and the storage and go on your merry way. And you're gonna save a lot of money comparatively speaking. It used to be the cost to borrow money wasn't as expensive, but as we all know, what's going on with the economy, what's going on with inflation, what's going on with all the banks and everything, the cost to borrow money is way more than it was even a year ago today. So 2 years ago, it was super cheap to borrow money, which was crazy, but we're just not going to see those type of lending. We're not going to see that for several years to come. So for those who are thinking, should I lease or should I purchase? Think to yourself, do you want your DTI to be affected? Do you have big enough tax liability to absorb and take advantage of the tax credit? Are you going to be disciplined enough to pay down the loan so it doesn't reamortize to the higher solar payment? Or are you going to maybe use that tax credit to pay something else off that has a higher interest rate? These are the conversations that we have to have between you and me if you're the homeowner, of how you do your finances, because you really want to make sure you get into the right product. And if you're not a full-on believer in solar yet, you haven't adopted it yet, leasing is kind of a good option because you have options after 5-6 years, depending on the lease that you go with. Leasing is also a great option if you own rental homes and you want to put solar on your rental homes that might not be in an LLC. So how awesome would it be to be able to have your house, your rental home, solar powered, helping your tenants? Maybe it's going to help them stay in your home longer, and it's just going to help you cash flow that property. And you can include that lease payment into the lease payments for the rental home too. I mean, there's different ways you can go about it. So a year ago, 2 years ago, I wasn't a huge, huge fan of leasing because ownership was still a viable thing to do. But the more leasing products come out, the more I'm a fan of these for people in the situation where they have rental homes and they don't have, they're not in LLCs, so they can't depreciate the systems or take advantage of the tax credits as a business entity. Sometimes people just want to reduce their energy costs, and you will certainly do that with a lease. You will still do it with a purchase. And if you pay cash, oh my gosh, if you pay cash for a solar system, it's still going to beat the lease and the financing of a solar system, with the storage included. So that is what I wanted to talk about today. The power of a solar system, if you lease it, if you purchase it, and the differences between the two. Let's see. Edward. Hi, Jamie. Glad to have the tax deduction from purchase of solar. Yeah. I mean, guys, like for sure, people who have the tax liability and that can take advantage of the tax credit and reduce their overall cost it's still gonna beat the overall cost of a solar system, especially if you pay cash for the system. And your daughter did a lease. Okay, Edward, did she get PTO yet? Has that gotten set up for her yet? because I think she's up in PG&E territory. Let me know. So that's, those are the benefits. There, it really comes down to individualized conversations about you and your home and your finances. The good news is I understand that and can help you navigate and really decide what is the best financial product for your home when you go solar. Because at the end of the day, it's a lease or it's a lease payment. It's a solar payment, or you come up with some cash and you pay it with cash, or you go to your credit union, you get a loan from your credit union and pay cash that way. The other daughter got the PTO in Nevada. Okay, good. And maybe it's your other daughter that didn't get PTO yet. Hopefully it's the same daughter you talked about a couple weeks ago on my last live stream. Yes. So that is what I want to talk about on this live stream. PPAs, leases versus purchase. We purchased our solar system. We had the tax liability. And the reason why I bring this up is because I recognize I live in an area where our salaries and incomes might be a little bit larger. We didn't have a very expensive solar system, but our tax liability was more than our tax credit, the value of our tax credit. So we were able to take advantage of that. In places where your incomes are, not as high as maybe the Bay Area, because that's where I live. I'm talking like middle of America, or even like where maybe your annual salaries are $80,000, but your tax liability is not that great, but you need a really big system with storage. Your tax credit may be way bigger than your tax liability, and that's what we need to find out. So talk to your tax preparer, your CPA, find out what was your tax liability. That's going to be one really important piece of information for you to determine if you qualify for it. And you have to ask yourself, do you want to, after the warranties on the solar panels, or the solar panel warranties are 25 years. So that's no problem. The inverters, 25 years for the most part. The batteries is where the warranties are only 10 to 12 years, depending on the battery you get and what kind of battery. There's different batteries too. I think the battery with NEM 3.0 with California is where the leasing might make a lot more sense, because the cost to replace batteries are a lot. And what's happening now, people in NEM 2.0 are wanting to add batteries. And so I do have an installer who will install standalone batteries to systems that they didn't install. I have one installer that will only do batteries on systems that they installed previously. The unfortunate thing with the utilities in NEM 2.0 is if you add to the system, which in most cases, in a lot of cases in the past, installers would do an add-on system with storage. That was kind of their policy, but because of everything that's changed, I think people are changing how the circumstances of how to install a battery. If you add more than 10% of your existing solar system size, you're going to get automatically bumped out of NEM 2.0 if you go 15% bigger system or 20% bigger system. So those are things to be aware of, if whether or not losing NEM 2.0 to add more solar to eliminate the true-up bill and to be able to add storage makes sense for you. So again, just more conversation, going in deep over your home, your future plans, how long you plan to live in that house. And yeah, I mean, right now, the way things are with the real estate market, we're not leaving this place anytime soon. We would be foolish to sell our house and move to a bigger house, only to increase our property taxes and our payments just because of interest. Yeah. So we're here to stay. And so we purchased our system, and we're very happy with the savings that it is affording us. So make sure, if you want to meet with me about solar for your home, you can go to my website, JaimeGreenTheSolarQueen.com. There are a couple little videos there, a couple little forms, and you can fill those out and set up an appointment on my calendar, and we'll meet over the phone or over Zoom. Yesterday, I had 2 people go to my website. I'm sure you watched on YouTube. Thanks for watching on YouTube. And we're set up some solar appointments later on this week because once again, those utilities continue to raise the rates and they're going to be this winter. So anticipate more expensive utility bills, even though your usage might not go up. And they're only going to continue to get more and more costly because January is when the CPUC is going to approve or decline the utility company's request to raise rates again. And that is a reality. So yes, reach out to me and let's have a solar conversation for your home and determine what is best, a lease or a purchase. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your Monday. I will see you all in the next video and take care. Bye-bye.